Well, here it is. It's a beautiful spring day down on the shoreline in front of Astoria High School. Let's take a walk along the shoreline. See those old pilings? Those are remains of an old railroad. Used to run along the shore here. Hey, what's that? There's something on the shoreline. Let's go take a look. Kind of looks like tree roots. Doesn't appear to be a whole lot of bark on them, but you can see lines of growth, and they're all kind of pointing up towards where the stump should be, but I don't see a stump. Just the roots. This looks like another one over here. Whoa! Is that a really giant stump over there? This is kind of weird because it seems to be below the high tide mark. I can see where the driftwood is up there by the road. And these stumps are below that. That's really odd. Okay, so we've got two stumps in this spot by the yellow marks. Here's another stump where this yellow arrow is. The high tide marks where the orange is, which corresponds with the blue on the staff. Let's take a closer look at this really large stump across this little creek. It's got roots spread out in growth position. It might not look like one stump at first, but when you get closer you find out there's massive roots that are coming out from one central location. So we were wondering how old was this tree when it died, and to do that we got to count growth rings, but the stump is gone like the other ones, so we had to cut into a root, a pretty old root that must have been there for most of the life of the tree. And a few years back, when we cut that tree cookie out of this root, we counted the growth rings and we found out that this tree was 247 years old just when it died. That doesn't mean it died 247 years ago, but that's how old it was when it died. So, what kind of tree is this? Well, there's a couple of clues. One, there's some bark left on the roots, and the bark's character of these little flaky pieces show that it was a Sitka spruce, which is a common large forest tree around here. And then the fact that most of these stumps are missing their central core is another clue. Let's hop down in there. You can actually stand inside this stump and look back out at the bay from where the tree trunk once stood. So the other clue to the kind of tree this was is the missing wood in the center where the trunk should be. A lot of Sitka spruce trees in our area get a type of rot called brown cubic rot that takes out the center of the tree, and that the tree keeps living on the outer parts. Here's another piece of evidence we should look at. These plants that are growing on top may look like grasses, but they're actually sedges, which are a type of aquatic plant that can tolerate immersion in water for long periods of time. But Sitka spruce trees don't like to be below water, so twice a day this tree gets covered up by high tide. Here's another stump with some sedges growing on top of it. There's some rushes in there too. All of these are aquatic plants. How many of these stumps are there? If you look around, you can find the remnants of at least 13 old Sitka spruce stumps on the shoreline in front of Young's Bay. And it turns out that this piece of land, not counting the old railroad trestle, shows up on a Lewis and Clark map from 1805, so we know this shoreline wasn't modified before then or after then. It's just the way it was, save for those pilings. So this forest was either dead or alive when Lewis and Clark was here. We just got to find out, how long ago did these trees become below high tide? So now we're zooming in close on that rack line where the high tide mark is, and you can see all the debris that washed up the last time there was a high tide. If you turn around and look back out to where the first stumps were, way out there is where that blue flag was on the staff.